Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, continuing on in my North Node through the signs and houses series, we are discussing North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius, as well as breaking down this overall nodal story to each house combination. So you will understand how the sign of Gemini merges with the house placement of your North Node. And if you're a subscriber to my channel, you know how much of a North Node nerd I am, because I think it is a place in our chart that truly has so much value. It both tells us where we've been, where we're gifted, where we have expertise, but also our Achilles heel, where we can delay our own growth, where we can stay trapped in the snares of comfort, and what we are expanded by and karmically and soulfully supported to dive into. So we're breaking down North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. Before I dive in, if you wouldn't mind, if you've been enjoying this series, if you're excited for your own sign, if you could just drop a like, comment, subscription, those little nudges truly mean the entire world to me. These videos do take a long time to film and edit, so I'm very appreciative for any little bit of gratitude that you can give. If it's not your thing, no worries at all. I'm just grateful that you are here. And let's dive into the overarching themes of North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. So my friends, to understand where you are going, we must understand where you have been. So as a South Node Sagittarius, and if you're confused, if your North Node is Gemini, you automatically have a South Node Sagittarius, okay? They're always across from one another. So South Node in astrology depicts where we have been. Now, I speak in terms of past lives. If that is not a concept that resonates with you, I want you to just sub in mentally early in life. Totally okay. But South Node depicts where is our comfort zone, where we feel safe, and truly where we have some gifts and expertise. So you, my friend, as a South Node Sagittarius, are wise. You are very wise. You have had many lifetimes devoted to this pursuit of truth. And Sagittarius pursues truth in a lot of different ways. Some Sagittarians go on this quest for truth through the realm of religious organizations, become, priests, preachers. Some search for this elusive search for truth through academia, getting their masters, becoming professors. Some search for truth through traveling, basically searching the world for a bigger picture vision and some sort of spirituality or conception of the world that made them be able to devote themselves to that and commit deeply into it. And this is gifted because you bring with you into this life a lot of abstract philosophical knowledge. You might be someone who just knows things and you're not sure how exactly you know them. You might be someone who is always told how wise you are, how much of an old soul you are. This is because you've had many incarnations of searching and being kind of a way shower for other individuals in what truth is, what is moral rights and wrongs. You have been a searcher, a student for many lifetimes. So naturally within this life, you have a lot of information at your disposal, and it might even be strange. You're like, how do I know all of this? You also bring with you an enormous gift in traveling, or being very gifted in traveling, exploring other cultures. You could also bring through a lot of gifts in terms of intuition. Like I said, with the Sagittarius South Node, you could have been someone who was highly spiritual and highly revered in past lifetimes. So listening to your intuition, having a spiritual connection may have been something that came a little bit more seamless to you. So all well and good, right? You bring with you a lot of these gifts. What do you need to be mindful of? The shadow side of Sagittarius is this know-it-all energy, because in past lifetimes, you were sort of revered. You were sort of held up, whether that was as a professor, as a religious leader. You were someone who was meant to devote yourself to gaining this knowledge, whether that was academia, religion, traveling, and then sort of distilling it to other people. And you were the one who had the answers. And it was not okay for you to be wishy-washy or sort of back and forth. So you also bring with you this feeling that you've got to be the one, like you've got all the answers. And you can also really fear being vulnerable or being anything less than positive. You might even avoid people when you're not feeling 100% about yourself, because you have this feeling that you're They're the one who's supposed to have it all figured out. And if you're doubting yourself, what does that mean for other people? You're also very used to being the one that people are listening to, you know, when you're standing up at a podium or delivering that week's sermon or teaching a class. You were very gifted in being able to convey your perspective. But in terms of interactions, you might not feel inherently comfortable in relationships and partnerships. You could have this feeling of wanting to run away when you get close to someone, or even not even wanting to interact with the world. Because with South Node Sagittarius, there is this feeling that you are content on your own. Like in this, you know, in this nodal story, there is this theme around, you could have been someone who was a traveler, really like locked away, you know, studying religious texts, or someone who was locked away studying philosophies. You weren't really of the world. You were respected and revered by the world, but you didn't feel like you truly belonged. So social interactions might feel awkward. You might fear being close to people. And there also might be this feeling when you're getting close to someone of being like, I need to run away. This is too close and I just can't, I can't get too close to you, because Sagittarius does have this feeling that they've got to be free. They need to have spontaneity within their life to be able to bob and weave. So you can fear commitment as well. Anything that sort of makes you sink your feet down is something that you can, you know, run away from. You can also constantly want to be on your own, or just be like, everyone is dumb and I just want to be within my own space. And that's your comfort zone, is safe within your belief systems, safe within your independence, safe within your inner spontaneity. But is that where you grow in this lifetime? No. Where you grow as a North Node Gemini is having discourse with other individuals and being okay with being, I mean, wishy-washy isn't a great word to say it, but being okay with being uncertain. With North Node Gemini, much of your journey in this lifetime is to interact with the population. Like I said, South Node Sagittarian individuals can have a little bit of a superiority complex because they've had many lifetimes of being a superior to other people. And now it's about connecting with the everyday person and realizing the value of their story, realizing that you can source wisdom, not just through ancient texts and college classrooms, but also through the everyday person that you interact with. So there needs to be this sort of journey of being okay with asking questions and being a little bit more curious about individuals that you embark upon, letting go of this idea that you have to have all the answers, contemplating more than one thing at once. That's why I'm saying like wishy-washy, or just being able to recognize that two things can be true at once. Because with Sagittarius, there is this truth-seeking energy. I need to find the truth, whether it's a religious truth, a moral truth, an academic truth. I need to find what's true for every single person, right? And with Gemini, it's about learning the value that you believe something, I believe something, and that's okay. And giving yourself, you know, I don't mean to make you guys sound like you're totally snobs, but giving yourself the grace to be human and to not necessarily have all the answers, and be open to ask for help, being open to interact with others. With South Node Sagittarius, you could just feel like you're the one everyone else needs to go to, and, you know, resist showing vulnerability, opening up to people. But a lot of your gifts in this lifetime will be given to you through other people and allowing yourself to get close to other people. There can be a constant fear of getting close to someone, or when things get hard in a relationship, just wanting to, you know, revere back to, I've got to be free, I've got to break up with them, I can't get too close because I need to, you know, dedicate myself solely to this truth and to this purpose. With North Node and Gemini, you are encouraged to enjoy partnerships. Now, am I saying pick one person to be with them forever? No, because honestly, with North Node and Gemini, this is a people-based lifetime. Like, you are here to interact with a lot of different people. There was a feeling with South Node Sagittarius that you were so immersed in books and, you know, teachings and things of that nature that you didn't really get to have conversations. This is a conversation-based lifetime. This is a people-based lifetime. So I'm not saying be with one person, be locked away with them. No, but also notice where you can sacrifice or sabotage relationships because you fear that feeling of commitment, and because you fear just being vulnerable and asking the other person for their opinion. You know, relationships are a great boot camp, I guess, for this North Node, because you are expanded through conversation. And commonly with this North Node, South Node series, there is a fear of rejection. And there is a tendency to want to be in your own space, because when you're in your space, in your own beliefs, you're safe. Everyone respects you. It's all good. When you get rejected or you don't hear back from someone, you might lock yourself away. Like, okay, it's okay. I'll just be on my own, rather than reaching out and being like, hey, I noticed you didn't follow up with me about the job posting, or hey, I noticed you didn't, text me after we grabbed coffee that day. With South Node Sagittarius, you need to be mindful around making assumptions around other people's perspectives. North Node Gemini is about humbling yourself and asking. So what are some of the gifts of this nodal cycle? So firstly, you are a wordsmith. And like I've said, you've had many lifetimes of really taking in this very abstract, higher level knowledge. And the gift in this lifetime is being able to transmute it in a way that is very understandable for people to grasp onto. This is the example I use so commonly. So I'm so sorry if you watch a lot of my videos, but it's sort of the energy of a yoga instructor. What are they teaching? Yoga. They're teaching poses, something, a little bit more logical, a little bit more grounded, right? But throughout the course of that class, they could sort of interweave these higher level spiritual concepts. So for you as a North Node Gemini, you are meant to teach, certainly, but you might be able to field some of that moral, philosophical, spiritual knowledge through something that is a little bit more practical, a little bit more grounded, allows you to interact with a lot of people. So with North Node Gemini, encourage asking questions, being curious about other individuals. A lot of people with this can fear communication because they feel more safe when there's a level of separation of how close people can get to them, so they can sort of keep up this veneer that they are all knowing. But this lifetime isn't about, being up in your shiny tower, just learning about this stuff. It's about interacting with the world, interacting with a variety of people, being expanded by each interaction, realizing wisdom is not just sourced through textbook, it could be sourced through individuals. And so as a North Node Gemini, I encourage you to meet with and talk to as many people as possible. And North Node is not where we're inherently comfortable. So maybe you're someone who's a little bit more shy, a little bit more reserved, and you don't necessarily enjoy conversing with people. That is your hero's journey in this lifetime, is learning how to communicate, and not how to communicate in a way that conveys how intelligent and spiritual and revered you are. So using all the fancy big words or trying to speak to the elite, but rather transmuting that information into a way that's very easily accessible by the quote unquote normal person, by the person down the street, by the person in your immediate environment. And that takes checking in on the recipient of the person who is receiving that message. So rather than being caught up in, is this making me look great? Is this, am I using all my big words? Am I really painting the full big picture? Am I distilling this message into a simple way that other people can understand, into a digestible matter? Because you are honestly a divine cosmic messenger, to be quite frank. There can be really minute conversations that you have that you just convey something that is so spiritually resonant that someone's like, whoa. Like, you don't need the fancy language and like the years in academia to be someone who is wise and a way shower for people in this lifetime. You've had lifetimes where you did all that. In this lifetime, it's about taking that information and distilling it and not fearing conversation. And that varies. I don't want you to feel like that's only like deep soul conversations. That's like conversing with people in your neighborhood. That's walking down to the flower shop and having conversations with that person. That's having people that you interact with who come from all different walks of life and learning about them, because not only do you have messages for them, but they have messages for you too. You had so much, experience locked away in the throes of academia and wisdom that you didn't really get to have this experience here on planet Earth. One of the people, some of the gifts of this North Node placement are your writing skills, your speaking skills. You are a wordsmith, you are a messenger, but it's about learning to shift the focus rather than look at me, I'm this and that, to is my recipient understanding this? Have I distilled this in a way that is very simple and understandable? Also, with this, learning is expanded curiosity, using logic with North Node Gemini, and giving yourself space to change your mind, to be a little uncertain. The last Achilles heel of South Node in Sagittarius is you can't have this desire to want to run away from it all. That's run away from a partnership, run away from a relationship, run away from this life, and to go travel. You've had many lifetimes of wandering and traveling and having all these experiences. This lifetime is about anchoring into the here and now, not getting overly caught up in the big picture, the forest. I want you to just focus on the trees, the little gifts of your immediate environment, the people that you've spoken with here and now, finding the beauty when you just sort of anchor in one space and dare to let yourself get to know the people around you rather than locking yourself up within your wisdom. So now that I've shared the overarching themes of this nodal journey, I will be breaking it down rising sign by rising sign. Now, if you use Placidus, the rising sign that I write below in the timestamps may not be your rising sign. Do not let that dissuade you. Look wherever that symbol is placed within your chart and listen for that house. Aries rising, North Node in Gemini in the 3rd house, South Node in Sagittarius in the 9th house. You are here to communicate. You are here to communicate. You are here to share your message. You may be, empowered to share that, whether it's through blogging, whether it's through, marketing efforts, SEO, things of that nature. You are meant to sort of tap into the mind of the everyday person. You can be very supported in leaning into that, leaning into the internet, learning things, getting into weird, corners of the internet, just sort of learning. It's almost like with this nodal story, your mind is a sponge. You are here to just soak up information from all sorts of different people. With South Node 9th house, there can be a superiority complex around only wanting to, associate with people who are academic. With South Node 9th house, there might be this tendency to be like, oh, I'd rather be anywhere but here. If only I was somewhere else, without really anchoring into the present moment and the beauty and the creativity that it holds. Like, this is sort of the nodal story around finding the magic in the mundane experience of living. Writing, doing poetry around it, or maybe just the course of sort of moving through your life allows you to better understand the human condition in order to be able to market to them more efficiently or serve your customers or things of that nature. Think of humans as your subject in this lifetime. That's something that you can learn just in those little interactions. With South Node 9th house, you very highly respect higher education and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that wouldn't necessarily be the right fit, but I also want you to lean into variety in this lifetime. Like with South Node Sagittarius, there was this past journey around having to devote yourself fully to one belief system or this one academic study. In this lifetime, you sort of have the gift of pivoting, because you might know with the North Node Gemini in the 3rd house, you can get a little bored a little easily. And with this particular nodal story, you're learning how to communicate, you're learning about people better, you're learning how to find the beauty in your physical environment rather than always wanting to run away to a different country, or, I'm gonna quit this. It makes me talk to too many people, to just go back to school and, commit myself fully to this one industry. It's interesting with this nodal cycle, because they can really be jealous of individuals who firmly commit themselves to, one partner and one career. And with North Node Gemini, that's just really not, North Node Gemini in your 3rd house, that might not necessarily be the journey for you. You're here to learn different information. You're here to learn different skills. You're here to expand your mind. You're here to learn how to communicate, which is why some sort of career that would provide you a little bit of flexibility. Honestly, this combination speaks to some sort of writer, whether that's online or otherwise, or someone else who handles words, something like sales, something that allows you to converse with a lot of different people, get a lot of different viewpoints, and be able to sharpen your communication skills as you continue. And the other thing just be mindful of is just avoiding that feeling of life will start as soon as I am traveling, or as soon as I leave this place. This place is so lame. It's about anchoring down into your immediate surroundings, and furthermore, finding the beauty and the wisdom in your immediate surroundings. Of course, North Node is not where we're comfortable if you're cringing as you think about it, but I really want you to open your mind to other people's perspectives, really sharpen both your communication skills as well as your listening skills. The mind is both a transmitter and a receiver. Taurus rising, North Node in Gemini in the 2nd house, South Node in Sagittarius in the 8th house. So for you, you're here to lean into finances, making money. And honestly, with North Node Gemini, your communication skills can be something that makes you money. What's important is that you let pride get out of the way. South Node Sagittarius, their Achilles heel can certainly be like refusing to ask for help, and particularly when it comes to financial matters. So you might sort of hold yourself back financially when you feel like, I'm meant to have this all figured out and I don't need to ask a financial advisor or anything like that. With North Node in Gemini, it's about sort of like asking people's opinions, or even like what this nodal story sort of speaks to me is, let's say you have a product. South Node in Sagittarius is about like just sort of putting it, like South Node in Sagittarius, the downside of this would just be like putting it out and being like, well, this is what the world needs. This product is what the world needs. Whereas North Node in Gemini is like, world, tell me what you need. With North Node Gemini, it's about sort of asking questions and not allowing your pride to get in the way with your ability to make money. So if you have a product, asking people, what is it that you need like within this industry, and allowing that to sort of inform what it is that you're creating. Or if you're a service provider, making sure to ask for feedback from the people that you served, asking what could have been better, am I priced appropriately, like things of that nature, in order to sharpen your tool set. Because honestly, this is a very abundant nodal cycle. You could even make money doing more than one thing, as Gemini is the twins, two things at once. But it's important for you to continually learn, both learn how to make money, learn from your customers, or learn from your particular career, and be open to ask for financial advice, or like ask other people like, hey, I suddenly came into all this money. What do I necessarily do with it? Oftentimes with South Node in the 8th house, they could have come from a very dramatic environment, or something, very, very traumatic, or some sort of scarring experience from their past. And it can make you subconsciously fear stability. With South Node Sagittarius in the 8th house, there can be this journey around trying to run from your trauma or run from your pain, and even like detesting anything that gives you stability, because there could be under the surface feelings that you don't necessarily deserve it. With North Node in Gemini in the 2nd house, it's about grounding into this moment of allowing yourself to make money for yourself, to purchase things that you like, that you value, and to allow yourself to set up a really lovely existence to live from, and to, converse with other people. With South Node Sagittarius, like I mentioned, there can be a tendency to want to keep things positive and light and just try to run away from, your past. And with North Node Gemini, it's about allowing yourself to have different connections with people, human connections, and allowing yourself to realize like the value that you have. You could also find with this nodal journey, another thing that came to my mind is you could be very gifted in writing, blogging, talking about finances in general could also be a great fit for this particular nodal story. My Gemini risings, or North Node in Gemini in the 1st house, Sagittarius South Node in the 7th house. So for you, my friends, part of your work in this lifetime is to get more comfortable putting yourself out there and being a little bit more self-sufficient. And it's an interesting balance, because you're both asked to sort of like converse, get good at communication, while also expanding the qualities of being your own person. Sort of challenging, right? But with North Node Gemini in the 1st house, you are being asked to expand your communication skills. It's very likely with this combination that you are meant to be someone who's prominently known for your words in some way, or you need to do a lot of work in sort of sharpening your voice, realizing the power that your voice has and conveying it. Now, certainly ask questions along the journey, learn different skills to, put yourself out there. But in this lifetime, there is this journey around self-sufficiency and sort of like learning who you are as an individual before you can truly merge within a partnership. And with this nodal journey, you might need to interact with a lot of different people. Like when I think of this nodal journey, it's almost like interacting with people, and like with every interaction, it's like you learn yourself a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Like for some reason, the visual that came to my head, remember like those paint by numbers where they have like the numbers and you put the paint, the corresponding paint. I want you to think of like every person that you interact with as like a different paint on your paint by numbers, right? And it's sort of sharpening the person that you are through asking these questions, through, learning how to communicate. And what I want you to avoid is just committing, to the first person, because it makes you feel more comfortable. With North Node 1st house, it's about learning who you are. Yes, relationships, partnerships help you on that journey of learning who you are, but prioritizing that person, your needs, your wants first before merging into what someone else wants and what someone else needs. With South Node Sagittarius, you are looking for this feeling of truth. So there could be this morality clause that you put people into, particularly in relationships, of being like, you need to be like this, or this needs to be like this, fit into those like really rigid moral boundaries that you had in a past lifetime. With this lifetime, it's about finding out what feels good in this lifetime. And that's why getting that data of sort of interacting with a lot of different people will be helpful in this lifetime, because it's sort of figuring out, well, what is it that I want? Like, do I like and date a lot of different people, honestly, or just befriend a lot of different people, because it's almost like the energy of like going on a date with like someone who's like a biker, and being at like the biker bar and drinking a beer and being like, do I like this? And the next day, like going out with like a San Francisco tech bro after he gets off his startup and drinking wine with him at the bistro and being like, do I like this? It's sort of like interacting with a lot of different individuals, letting go of these really rigid ideas of this is what a relationship should be. This is how your life should look. You should need to be married by this age, and sort of discovering yourself by bouncing it off all of these interesting different people. So prioritize yourself. If someone says like, you've got to change your whole life in order to move somewhere else with me. You know, South Node Sagittarius does have this wanderlust spirit. You'll feel tempted, certainly, with South Node, but I want you to prioritize yourself. If you have a good thing going in your immediate neighborhood, if you're enjoying getting to know people, I want you to prioritize yourself. Because with this combination, it could have been that you were married to, you know, a preacher or a priest or an academic of some sort. You both were very devoted to truth. And this lifetime is about discovering your own truth by sort of bouncing off with the everyday person. Cancer rising, Gemini North Node in the 12th house, Sagittarius South Node in the 6th house. So for you, there could be some dilemmas that you get into throughout the realm of your everyday, of having these sort of moral guidelines around this is how every day is meant to be spent. These are respectable professions and these are not. This is what you need to do for your health and this is not. With North Node Gemini, you are encouraged in learning, asking questions, taking classes. And with South Node in the 6th house, you have a lot of abilities and things that are like sort of like tangible, that are very service oriented. And with South Node Sagittarius in the 6th, there was a lot of your own like identity or ego could have been rooted in the services that you provided for other people and being someone that people went to for their questions to solve problems. And you can get caught up in that busyness of being the one that people go to, the one that people depend upon. With Node 12th house, it's about getting more comfortable in your own solitude, in things that don't necessarily make sense, in things that, you know, don't really command a lot of attention, like things such as volunteering, you know, donating your time, donating your energy. Also getting more into your spirituality. Like I said, with a South Node Sagittarius, you do have quite a bit of intuition. And with this, it could be about learning, so anchoring that intuition, learning about different modalities in which it is a fit. With North Node Gemini, like I want you to take that mediumship class. I want you to enroll in that astrology class. I want you to combine logic with the heaps and heaps of natural ability that you have, because it's going to allow you to trust a little bit more, as well as asking for feedback. If you choose to do this, you know, for a career, you could just do it on the side and choose to ask for feedback. Like, is the way that I delivered that message good for you? Like, I want you to really tap into, you know, asking questions as you begin to learn these skills, as 12th house is those sort of like modalities and skills and abilities that you could embark upon. Other themes with this. Yes, I mentioned, you know, donating your time, donating your energy, maybe having conversations like elderly folks home, or conversing with prisoners, or, you know, being the vocal point for these individuals who are locked up. 12th house is imprisoned individuals. So with North Node Gemini, it could be, you know, having fascinating conversations with these individuals who are otherwise disenfranchised, who have had their voice taken away in many cases, and being the mouthpiece for them. Getting away from South Node Sagittarius, where it's like, I'm right and this is the right way to live your life and this is the wrong way, but talking to people who in many ways society has discarded, and giving them a voice, giving them, you know, some power to their particular language, as well as, you know, diving into intuitive abilities, getting more comfortable within your solitude, as well as maybe even learning new strategies and modalities in terms of dream work, lucid work, and really letting go of know-it-all feeling. With North Node Gemini, it's about asking questions, diving into these incredibly murky fields, but grounding them down with logic, with skills, with practical expressions for it. My Leo risings, so North Node in Gemini in the 11th house, South Node in Sagittarius in the 5th house. So, loves, you are here to communicate. You are here to communicate, and you're here to work with a large number of people. Now, you're a Leo rising, you're a lot of fun, right? But with South Node, Sagittarius, 5th house, you might have been a little too fun in a past lifetime. You could have been someone who's reckless, someone who's very spontaneous, who lived for the moment. And that's beautiful, because it gives you in this lifetime an amazing gift in terms of seizing the moment. You could be someone who's very naturally creative. You could be someone who's very naturally like trusting of the universe, that you're just like making decisions and like the universe will catch me. With North Node Gemini, you are encouraged to sort of ask questions, use logic for sure. And with North Node 11th house, really consider your legacy. Because with 5th house, it's fun, it's party, it's right now, it's right here. And that's all well and good, but you've sort of done that before, and now your soul is really looking to give back to other people in a way that is very meaningful for you. It's about using your mind to sort of enhance this planet, whether that's through humanitarian causes, whether that's through becoming a leader, gathering people together, you know, working with large audiences. With this, your voice is definitely meant to be heard by a lot of people. With this combination, you could definitely be someone who is a public speaker or a writer meant to reach a lot of people. But for you to develop that ability within your writing, it's important to ask questions, to be a student of life, to really critically look at this planet and be like, what is needed? How can I truly support in a way that is the most helpful? As well as, you know, letting go of this notion around live only for today, have fun. That's all well and good. It gives you a natural ability with children, also a very fun sort of zest for life. But with North Node 11th house, it's like, okay, I can't just live for today because there's actually tomorrow, and you know, the environment is not taking well to all of the things that we've been putting it through. And how can I help? How can I support with my voice? Excuse the uneven audio. I just also wanted to add that with this South Node, you bring with you an incredible amount of creativity and self-expression. And appropriate, as most with this house South Node and sign will be Leo ascendants, but not always. And Leo is a very self-expressive sign as well. But you find it all too easy to stand out, to do your own thing, to march the beat of your own drum. And in fact, with the South Node Sagittarius, you could even flee when you have that feeling of not fitting in with a group, or even just rebelling against groups in entirety, just choosing to do your own thing. But this is a people-oriented lifetime, and with North Node and Gemini in the 11th house, you're learning that how when we align with other people, when we get together, we can create something even more powerful than we would be able to on our own, through our own efforts. And it's not necessarily about abandoning your creativity. Definitely honor your creativity, but maybe you can put that creativity towards a bigger purpose, towards a bigger aim, and align with like-minded individuals who also have that same purpose, that same mission for wanting to improve this planet, the same ideals that allows you guys to stick together. And maybe it's using that creativity rather than self-serving purposes, as 5th house is creation just for its creation's sake, and maybe putting it to a bigger cause. Like living completely in your 5th house would just be, you know, being a personal essayist, ranting and raving about all sorts of things. You know, South Node Sagittarius will love to preach on things. And North Node Gemini is sort of like asking, okay, how can I help? Or maybe using your writing skills in order to amplify the message of other individuals and your cause, things of that nature. And with North Node 11th house, also leaning into friendships. I know it's easier sometimes to want to run away from group dynamics, friendships in general, but here with this house, you are very much expanded by friendships, and it could have been that in past incarnations, you didn't really get the opportunity to have friends, to have community, so on and so forth. Virgo rising, North Node Gemini in the 10th house, South Node Sagittarius in the 4th house. So for you, your home base, your core, so you are a very rooted person. Like you feel rooted within your philosophy, within, you know, what is right, what is wrong. You feel like you've got that all figured out. And with South Node 4th house, there might be some fears around putting yourself out there to the public, because you're like, if I put myself out there, then I'm going to be criticized, and I can't take, you know, opinions that are different than mine because I'm right. I'm like correct in this. There can also be a tendency to, you know, want to do what your family is doing, or stay safe within the family unit, or just stay safe within your own privacy. For you, your words are meant to reach people, and you're meant to embark upon a career that makes you interact with a lot of different people. And you know, most of the time this nodal story will be found in individuals who are Virgo rising. So there can also be this tendency around put yourself out there, you put yourself out there for criticism, and a Virgo rising doesn't like to feel imperfect. And with the Sagittarius South Node, you have spent so many lifetimes or so much time, you know, committing, rooting out this idea of truth that to have it debated and put out there. It's just something that might be incomprehensible to you or very, very scary. With North Node 10th house, you are here to be public in some fashion, in some way. You're here to interact with a lot of different people, a lot of different mindsets. With North Node and Gemini, you are here to share your voice. And also with this combination, be open to pivot. Like I said with Sagittarius, there can be this tendency to want to wholeheartedly devote yourself. Like, I am going to grad school and this is what I am doing. With North Node Gemini, being open to sort of pivoting. What's interesting? What, excites me? Like, North Node Gemini really expands through variety. So you might be known for doing a lot of different things, being more than one role. You might be very, very multifaceted, and giving yourself permission to pivot and to let go of this is what I'm meant to do, and allow yourself to explore it. And also letting go of this notion that you need to be safe within your own little bubble, and being open to whatever. If people criticize you, whatever, maybe you can learn from it. Is there any value in the criticism that people offer you? Like, you have this offering and people are saying the same thing. With North Node Gemini, it's about being open to learn and sort of take emotions out of it in order to be like, okay, how can I use this to benefit my career? If you work for a company, being open to asking your superiors for feedback. Like with South Node Sagittarius, there can be an Achilles heel of fearing rejection so much that you don't even want to ask. You just want to like run away. So Sagittarius South Node would rather like quit their job than ask their supervisor for feedback. North Node Gemini in the 10th house, how are you going to succeed is asking for feedback, whether that is from your customers, from your bosses, and allowing yourself to put your skills out there, even if it comes with a little bit of criticism. Oh, my Libra risings. I'm pretty sure that the people who were requesting this series the most were the Libra risings, because I know it can be confusing having your houses essentially flipped, even though in traditional astrology there is no association with signs and houses. But that's a hot take in this day and age. But I will just say, traditional astrology, there was no association, but I get it because the themes do overlap quite a bit. So let's talk about you, Libra risings, North Node and Gemini in the 9th house. So for you, what your Achilles heel is feeling like you are the know-it-all and that the way that you experience the world is the way everyone else experiences the world, that your morals are the way that everyone else's should be. With North Node and Gemini in the 9th house, you are here to sort of interact with a lot of different belief systems to find which one resonates for you. So letting go of this, South Node desire to want to like firmly commit to something and be like, and everyone else is wrong, and sort of go on a journey in terms of your belief system. So maybe, going to a church, and if that doesn't resonate, like going to a temple, going on a retreat, trying different spiritualities and different religions and different modalities until you find one that feels good. Interacting with different people in these environments. I would also say with this combination, I would definitely say that any sort of schooling is supported. Like North Node Gemini supports curiosity, asking questions. And with it in the 9th house, asking deeper questions about what is your picture here and feeling, but not limiting yourself to the wisdom that you seek just from textbooks. Also being open to the people you interact with on the way, your teachers that you interact with on the way. School and learning is both in the classroom and out. So with North Node Gemini 9th house, it's definitely a combination in terms of investing in your learning, but also letting go of any, feelings within you that, okay, my professor is the only one I can learn from, and like just getting to class and then leaving right away. Being open to asking, the other people in your class, like, hey, you want to make a study group, things of that nature, putting yourself out there, because I know North Node Gemini doesn't love necessarily conversing with other individuals. This combination is another one that really makes me think a writer would be a great fit for you, as 9th house is the house of writing and publishing, and Gemini is a very gifted wordsmith. But the key to succeeding as a writer is being open to listening to people. So this combination honestly feels like someone who is an interviewer of some sort, and you use your writing and your logical ability in order to arrive closer to a truth, and not a truth that is assumed like this is the right truth, but something that is felt, that is experienced through the variety of life. Also with this combination also makes me think of travel writing, as North Node in the 9th house is traveling, and with Gemini breaking down these higher level experiences, travel and academia and philosophy, and conveying it into something that is very easy for people to understand. So here is a blog post. Here is an Instagram post about my journey. Here is these digestible pieces that allow you to arrive closer to, the big picture of life. Editing me here, I apologize for the uneven audio. I also wanted to add that with South Node 3rd house, there can be a fear around traveling. It could be past life experiences that you weren't able to leave the environment, the neighborhood that you grew up in, and there could be a lot of fear around leaving your hometown, traveling somewhere new, getting out of your comfort zone in a certain way. Like you could be a little rigid in your belief system of being like, no, I am going to stay here. This is my environment. There also can be a tendency with this journey, and something that you sort of needed to be discerning around is communicating to get to a bigger picture, a bigger belief, a bigger cause, and communicating just to talk, just to fill space. Because South Node 3rd house individuals can be a little bit of gossips at times, and you are here to communicate, so it's not shutting down all communication. By all means, please be open to the variety of people that you come across, and be open to converse with you all from all walks of life. That's such a beautiful expression with this particular house and sign. But a lot of South Node 3rd house can get really wrapped up into social media or gossiping with their friends or just consuming mindless information online. This is about asking the bigger questions and getting to the root of your personal truth by being open to explore, by being open to put yourself out of your comfort zone, and being open to listening to people who are very different than you to see what they can teach you. Scorpio rising, North Node in Gemini in the 8th house, South Node in Sagittarius in the 2nd house. So for you, the Achilles heel is this feeling that you've got to do it all on your own in terms of money and finances. Like with South Node Sagittarius, you might even fear opening up to people if you are like in financial trouble or something of the like, because you could be a little foolhardy. Like South Node Sagittarius have such a resounding faith in life that they're like, oh, I can make it back. I can make it back. So even if you're like in, hot water financially, you might be like, but I can't open up to someone. Like I've got to be the one who's got it all figured out. With North Node Gemini in the 8th house, it's being open to conversing with other people and to accepting support from other people, whether that's from a spouse, maybe a financial partner, from an investor. With South Node Sagittarius, let go of this notion that you've got to do it all on your own, that you've always got to be the breadwinner, that you've always got to provide for other people because that's your value, and you've got to be the one who has it all figured out. With North Node Gemini, it's about learning more about how can other people support me? How can I free up more of my time by allowing this energy to sort of support me, and letting go of any tendencies towards materialism or things of that nature. Of course, you're Scorpio rising, so you guys tend to not be that materialistic anyway, but with South Node Sagittarius in the 2nd house, there can be a desire to, like, where you put your faith might be belongings. When I'm this rich. North Node in the 8th house is about diving more into the intangibles of life, the things that can't be touched but are just as valuable, things such as, our legacy, things that stay after we're, gone, deeply committing within a relationship, things of that nature. With North Node Gemini in the 8th house, this does speak to, having partners, whether it's business partners or a marital partner, and allowing your finances to merge and having many conversations around money with North Node Gemini, maybe learning more about how you can make your money work for you. Being a student of, investing, things of that nature would also be a great combination of this. Editing me here, I apologize for the interruption. I just wanted to add that part of this nodal story is around releasing this overly optimistic or maybe at times reckless attitude towards money. Sagittarius is a very optimistic sign, so with it here, you can be very impulsive with your money, just like, oh, I'll make it back, it's all good, and having faith in your own money-making abilities, which is amazing. But with this particular cycle, it's about stepping out of that and using more of logic and using more of your mind with North Node Gemini, and maybe even humbling yourself or letting go of ego enough to ask for advice, ask for help from a financial advisor, as well as being a student of money, such as studying investments, studying cryptocurrency, studying ways to make passive income, studying ways to make money work for you rather than you working for money. Because in past lives, you likely did work for money in this lifetime. It's about leaning more into other areas that you can make money, such as, profitable relationships, profitable partnerships, profitable investments, things of that nature. And it's important to just put on your eternal student cap with the North Node Gemini and be open enough to ask questions, learn from the individuals, enroll in classes, things of that nature. Sagittarius rising, North Node in Gemini in the 7th house, South Node Sagittarius in the 1st house. So for you, this is a people-based lifetime. This is a people-based lifetime. This is a people-based lifetime. You are here to learn from people. With South Node Sagittarius, there is a feeling, I can do it all on my own. I don't need help from anyone. And you can really sabotage yourself by running away from relationships when you fear you've gotten too close, or when there's been one small argument, because like I said, Sagittarius Achilles heels that they can feel like they're always in the right and fear their people, and when you have that moment of like, your partner disagrees with you, rather than shutting off completely and wanting to like run away, book a ticket to France and just break off, just say sayonara, we're looking for the opportunity. How can you learn from this? Because so commonly with this nodal axis, they have like a string of relationships where they don't really know what went wrong. They had like one disagreement and then they ran away, because this nodal axis can deeply fear rejection. So they deeply fear having conversations with their partner because they'd rather keep things light and fun, and they fear asking for feedback. Like, how am I doing as a partner? What do you need? Because they fear that rejection. So I want you to be mindful when you feel the tendency of wanting to like run off on your own. With North Node Gemini, you can really do well in terms of forming a partnership with someone, whether that's a business partnership or just a relationship. And not to say marry the first person you meet. North Node Gemini definitely does expand through variety. So having lots of friends, lots of interesting contacts. A lot of your blessings in this lifetime will come through people, and will come when you dare to ask questions and to like sort of relinquish this feeling that you've got to be the one who's got it all figured out, and you've got to be the one that leads the way. Be more open to asking, well, what's your opinion on this situation? And what do you think I could be doing better? And sort of taking it as data points. With North Node Gemini, it's about using our logic a little bit more. Capricorn rising, North Node Gemini in the 6th house, South Node Sagittarius in the 12th house. So for you, my Capricorn risings, you are here to develop, skills and services to give to other people. With South Node Sagittarius 12th house, you likely have quite a bit of intuitive or philosophical gifts at your disposal. You could be a little subject to procrastination, especially with South Node Sagittarius. There is this notion of like, it's all good, I'll do it eventually. South Node Sagittarius can be a little bit toxic positivity at some times. And with the toxic positivity, it feels like there can also be, since 12th house is your subconscious mind, there can be a tendency to brush things under the rug, or to run away from your problems, or to run away from your trauma, or whatever is, sort of underneath. There can be a tendency to, it's all good, and not really take that data and take that information to improve yourself. With North Node Gemini in 6th house, therapy would be something that's super supportive, really breaking down these murky intangibles of life and breaking it down into words. So even like journaling about your emotions, talking them out in therapy, and looking for ways to practically improve your life. With North Node in 6th house, diving more into health, maybe learning about different like health strategies, different diets, different exercises. With North Node Gemini, it's about asking questions. Hey, like, what do you recommend for someone who has this and this? Or what do you think, maybe working with a personal trainer, being open to accepting support from other people. And that support won't happen until you acknowledge that there is a problem, or that there is something that you could be doing better. With North Node 6th house, you could have gifts or skills that you are here to share with people, but it's not until you sort of take that opportunity to humanize yourself and to realize, okay, what is it that I could be doing better, and to ask for feedback, that you really begin to develop in these areas. 6th house is health, which I touched on. 6th house is also small animals. You can even find just sort of anchoring into your daily routine, like taking care of an animal, having a daily routine of like journaling, going to therapy, finding those micro ways that make your daily environment more efficient, more productive, and more helpful. You also could work with people and have a lot of dialogue with people and be gifted with interacting with people. With South Node Sagittarius 12th house, there can be a tendency to run away from your problems, or keep yourself locked away from your problems, or not want to interact with the general public at all. Just be like, I'm happier on my own. But then you're on your own. You're like, well, this isn't fun either. With North Node Gemini in the 6th house, this does speak to a nodal journey where you've been locked away. You've been locked away, Rapunzel, for too long. And this is about interacting with people in daily helpful ways. So even like some sort of position that allows you to interact with a myriad of people throughout your work. So being someone like a barista who, you know, starts people's days, or someone such as a fitness instructor, taking that learning that you've gone around about how to improve your body, improve your health, improve your daily routine, to be able to share it to other people. So think of things like that, things that are helpful for the world, but also helpful for yourself in optimizing your daily routine and becoming the best version of yourself, honestly. Aquarius rising, North Node in Gemini in the 5th house, South Node in Sagittarius in the 11th house. So for you, you are here to have fun. You are here to date around a lot. This combination honestly feels like. With South Node Sagittarius in the 11th house, you could have a tendency to only want to surround yourself with people who you feel are in your echelon in some way, or to only want to interact with people who are like academics in some way, or who are as traveled and as cultured as you. And there can also be a fear of getting too close to people, preferring to have acquaintances rather than people that you're really, really, you know, close to. And there can also be fears around standing out, around doing your own thing, right? Around communicating in a different way. With South Node Sagittarius, you know, there can be this know-it-all feeling around, I've got to be the voice that reaches millions of people, so I've got to tailor my message. But with North Node Gemini, it's about sharing your voice in a way that feels good to you. It's about having fun. It definitely feels like with this combination, writing could be something that you do for fun. You could also be someone who is here to have children, is a house of children, or just get close to your inner child. Something about Gemini is that they are very playful. They're very youthful. They don't take themselves too seriously. So with South Node Sagittarius in 11th house, you could take yourself very seriously. I need to do all these things. I have this goal that I need to make this much money by this age, and forget to just live while you're alive. With North Node and Gemini, it's about learning new things just for fun. Trombone, why not? Play at the playground, why not? You live once, have fun while you're here. Ask questions, date a lot, create, and learn through, you know, the act of creativity. And I want you to release this idea that it needs to be acknowledged by elite, the best of the best. If something feels good for you to make, I want you to just make it. If you like writing short stories, just write short stories. With North Node Gemini, you know, Gemini is a twin, so you could have more than one creative pursuit that you like to devote yourself to. But I want you to be open, be light with life. And you can also learn a lot through romance, through flirting, through falling in love. And I want you to like release any guilt that you have around just doing things just because it's fun, doing things just because it's pleasurable, falling in love just because it makes you feel alive. Be open to look at these experiences through the eternal student lens of Gemini. So maybe you write about your dating adventures. Maybe you learn about yourself through, you know, those dating adventures. Maybe the process of being a parent is something that really, really benefits, is something that really, really teaches you. Maybe you have a parenting blog or something of this nature. There is a lens of learning through these areas and not taking yourself too seriously. And my lovely Pisces rising, South Node Sagittarius in the 10th house, North Node in Gemini in the 4th house. Really not taking yourself too seriously. And there can be a tendency here, because you've had a lot of past life experience of being someone who's very notable. People knew you, people respected you and revered you. And this lifetime you might feel like success is only when other people acknowledge that I'm successful. And there can be certain parts of you that really doesn't respect like your family's opinion or even like your hometown's opinion. You want to get away from where you've been. You don't want to associate with your family. You want to go out and make your own name for yourself. And I'm not saying career won't be a theme here, but you've been someone very important and reputable and respected in the domain. And this lifetime is about sort of anchoring into truly what makes you happy and being the student of your own life, of observing what is my ideal day, what really contributes to my happiness and my fulfillment, and even like asking your family for their opinions. With North Node Gemini, you are encouraged to ask questions. I know that's not the most comfortable thing. With South Node Sagittarius, there can be a tendency to, you know, get caught in your own pride, or like, I know what's best and I always know what's best. And maybe some of you don't have a great relationship with your family. With North Node 4th house, would be suggested to dive into that relationship if you don't have a great relationship with your family, or you don't really have respect for the way that they lived their lives. Another manifestation of this could be, you know, using the way that they live their life as sort of a data point of like, that, you know, home base that I grew up in was not for me, and let me dive into creating that sanctuary, creating that foundation for myself that is supportive. Sort of putting on your thinking cap, your learning cap, and learning strategies of how to to emotionally regulate yourself in a way that feels safe, and asking for other people's opinion on like your interior design to make your home base feel safe and supportive and truly anchoring for your soul and for your spirit, and to create a life that feels good on the inside rather than just looks good on the outside, and to be okay asking for opinions and things of the like. Friends, I had so much fun diving into this. Comment below what you thought of your combination. I'll be continuing on in this series every other week. On Fridays, I will be continuing on. So sorry, this one is a week late. I had to travel home for some family stuff. And these videos take a while to record. So I just wanted to make sure I did you North Node Geminis justice, because as you could tell from my animation, I love this nodal story. If you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, sharing with a friend that you know has this, those little nudges mean the world to me. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.